Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of Plagued by Visions. Admittedly, this is very different from what I usually do, but I just wanted to kind of touch base. I guess I make this sound like a fucking work meeting or something, but I wanted to address something, some kind of trend that I've been noticing on BookTube, and I've been noticing for a long time, and it's grown increasingly disturbing the more I'm exposed to it, to the point where now I feel like, maybe this will change absolutely fucking nothing, but I feel like I at least have to say something about it, give my 2 cents. I don't usually participate in like booktube discourse a lot, just because I feel like it's the same talking points revolving back and forth with no real like achievable of any higher truth. But this subject in particular, I seem to be very passionate about, just because I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. So I want to address it, and that is, of course, reading speed, and beyond that, this disturbing ideation that a lot of booktube fans seem to be building, that they are not reading fast enough. And I've been noticing that there's a lot of content here on booktube that is catering towards not alleviating, but almost in a sense exploiting that insecurity within people. And I feel like I have to at least let my viewers know that there's nothing wrong with the speed at which you read something. Now, I'm not calling out any specific booktubers, just kind of like an amalgam of thumbnails that I've seen whenever I search things like reading speeds and shit like that. But I will say there is a booktuber that I know personally, that I consider a friend, who has made a video of this kind, and that is Criminally. But before, like booktube Dramageddon 3.0 or 4.0, whatever we're at right now, breaks out and people say, oh my god, Juan's calling out Ollie. Actually, I think Ollie is a perfect example of the right kind of fast reading that I have no problem with, and he is perfect for illustrating the example of what I'm not cool with in comparison. So Ollie, I'm so sorry that I have to use you as a test subject, but trust me, you are the perfect specimen for this. So Ollie, as I said before, is somebody that I know personally, to at least to the extent that internet friendships allow. So I consider him a good friend. He's an avid reader, a fanatic reader. I think if we ever had to apply the adjective fanatic to a reader, Ollie would be a prime candidate for that. But Ollie also reads blindingly fast, and he has astounded many booktube viewers with his reading speed. And he has made videos on explaining how he does this and how he goes about his reading, blah blah blah. And I've watched those videos, and I actually came away with really good advice. But because Ollie, what he is doing is giving wonderful advice, not on how to read faster, but how to read more consistently. And that I agree with. I think that forming a habit around reading is crucial towards really getting the most out of it. So I have no problem about, building a habit out of reading. And then if you naturally just tear through books like Ollie does, that is because that's the natural relationship that you have forged with reading, like Ollie, who's been reading for decades and decades. And this is just how his reading has naturally progressed up to a point where he just tears through books, but he can still get all the enjoyment that he needs out of them. And more especially than that, he's built a consistent habit around reading. So all of that is wonderful, and I second all of his advice on that front. But then I moving beyond Ollie, I'm more annoyed by the really popular videos on how to read faster. I'm talking about the ones that have like millions of views, and it's people, posting like all clean cut and shit, like, hey, here's how you read 30 books in 5 minutes. And people buy it. Obviously, like I'm telling you, these videos are the ones that have millions and millions of views. People are flocking to this idea that they're not reading fast enough, and it's the speed itself that lingers in their mind. It's no longer about, how do I build a habit? How do I build a natural relationship with reading? How do I build my love of reading up to a point where I want to, just keep reading consistently and a lot? It's more like, oh my god, I'm a fucking idiot. I read like whatever words per minute. I need to be faster. How do I do this? And then the influencers, the bookfluencers, whatever the fuck, come in and they're like, well, as a book guru myself, here's 5 proven tips on how to, I don't know, read the Bible in one night. And I get it, people need to make their coin, but I'm just here to tell you, but all of that, from what I've seen, I've skimmed through some of these videos, all of that is bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit, snake oil shit that these people want to sell you because they want to make money off of your insecurities, like with everything else. And, listen, everything around you, and I'm telling you this because I'm in this ecosystem too. I'm not observing from a detached level or anything. I'm here in the muck as a victim like you all. We're constantly fed things that basically present our shortcomings to us, right? In advertising and the media and all of that, you're too fat, you're not tall enough, your skin's not clear enough, blah, blah, blah. And we all know this. It sounds even kind of trite for me to say it. We all know this. Advertising is predatory towards insecurities, and then they start telling you then they move beyond just the physical. They move beyond just you look like shit, and then they move into your skills and abilities and personalities and sort of like own internal struggles. And then they start saying, well, the reason you're broke is because you're not working hard enough, because you're lazy. Here's a book on how to stop being lazy, or here's my 5-step program on how to stop being lazy and get your ass to work, because that's the only reason you're broke. And then they start saying, well, actually, you're not doing this right because you're not focused enough. Here's how you focus on things. And focus, like this really fuzzy, meaningless word that doesn't fucking say anything about your predicament, but focus, you need to focus. So here's like 20 self-help videos on how to focus, blah blah blah. And through all of that discourse of consumerism, I feel like reading is now being brought in as another shortcoming of the pitiful man. Right now, here's another problem. The reason you're a fucking idiot is because you're not reading 20 books in one day. So you need to get a way of a head start and start reading and read faster. Here's how you read faster. So then it becomes about stats, it becomes about the quantity. And I have, in all of these like how to read faster videos that have like millions of views, I have never seen a single person hold any kind of meaningful discussion about what they're reading. Never. And it's just it pisses me off, rightfully so. I think you all know this. You can all tell this by now. But beyond that, also, what annoys me about it is that, just to you all, I just want to let you know, to you all, don't let fucking anybody tell you that your reading amount is another shortcoming that you need to be insecure about. Don't let reading become another consumerist activity that you build insecurities around, because I'm telling you right now, that's not what reading is. It absolutely is not what reading is, and that is not the toxic relationship that you should be building towards reading. And all of these people who have like millions of views who are telling you otherwise are full of shit, and you should not listen to them. There are anomalies, there are exceptional cases like Ollie, people who have been genuinely reading their whole lives, and they have built this amazing, almost like preternatural habit towards just naturally tearing through books. There are people like that. People like that do exist, but like I'm saying, people like Ollie are just few and far in between. And then all these other people just listen to the way that they talk about books. It's like they're not even talking about books. They're talking about products. They're talking about some kind of like cream that you have to apply every night. You have to read every night this amount, and no matter what, like tear through it through audiobook at 4 times speed. Just read this much, and then you'll get smarter, because you'll be able to say that you read all these books in one day. And it's just frankly disgusts me. And let me tell you something. And I pulled this book out for this reason. This is The Ballad of the Sad Cafe by Carson McCullers. Tiny novella. You could sit down and read this in one day, right? And I could have very well done that myself. But this, I actually, first I had to read it for a college class when I was, I don't know, this was back in 2012, 2013, I want to say. And I opened this and I started reading it. It took me about, I want to say a week, maybe more, to read this tiny novella. I want to say more, maybe even 2 weeks. And the reason for that is because I found that I was slowing myself down to really relish the nature of the story, to really relish the sense of atmosphere that was being built in here. You know, a Southern Gothic is often famous for just like this thick essence of a kind of like warm bleakness almost. You know, the characters are so colorful in their own malformed and monstrous way, but with vibrant humanity at the core. I was just fascinated by the movements and the set pieces in here that I found myself just slowing down and really relishing it chapter by chapter. And it became one of the most enjoyable reading experiences of my life. I mean, it's the reason why I was able to just so swiftly pull it out of my shelf and talk about it, because it marked me as a reader on that occasion, that I slowed myself down to enjoy it. And you know, you have no idea how many times people have reached out to me with similar thoughts on a book that they read. You know, and I could have torn through that. You know, the prose was gripping as all hell. It was incredible. I was fully immersed, but I found myself that I was even like trying to slow myself down to really enjoy it, to really cherish it. And I feel like we should be striving less towards reading that we can tear through in a day, and striving more towards beautiful, rich, decadent reading like this that forces us to slow down and really relish this beautiful hallucinatory experience that we call reading. Like, why aren't we striving more towards reading slower, or towards finding books that force us to slow down and really relish that? You know, I'm gonna sound like a fucking gatekeeper, and I don't care, because I will gatekeep when it comes to this subject, I guess. But all those people that are telling you, you know, I read 100 fucking books in 1 month, you know, through audiobooks, sped through them because I needed to get my stats in. You know, I need those book stats. Everybody cares about the book stats. I'm telling you, those people are not forging meaningful relationships with literature at all. I don't care if you want to call me a gatekeeper. I'll gladly be a gatekeeper on this sense, because these people are building up their stats essentially just so they can sell them to you. And then they will tell you that that's not the case. Oh no, I'm just a naturally fast reader. Listen, I have been doing booktube now for a couple of years. A lot of people on here like to bullshit you. They do, and they will. So I'm just letting you know, if you can forge a relationship with a book, you know, that goes on for weeks, that kind of like intimacy with literature, that's what you should strive towards. And it breaks my heart whenever I get a message from a viewer and they say, you know, I'm a huge fan of your channel and all the books you talk about, and I want to get through them, but do you have any tips on how to read faster? I want to read faster, blah blah blah. And I can just tell that it's coming from all of this insecurity that other people are piling onto booktube viewers. And I always try to tell people, you know, it's the key, like I said at the beginning here, is reading consistently, not faster. You know, just read. I don't know how else to explain this. Like, you are not going to be successful at reading if the entire time you are tearing through a page you're going, oh my god, how fucking much is left, Jesus, okay, okay, just turn the page, okay, how many are left now, oh crap, okay, well I need to tear through this now. I've seen people transform their reading into that, and I'm like, is that really enjoyable? Is that really what you want your relationships to books to be? You know, I just want to let everybody just slow the fuck down. If you've been reading a book for like a month, dude, you've been reading for a month. That's what you should be proud of. You should not be a month into a book feeling bad about your reading habits. Do you know what I mean? You should be like, holy shit, I have been with this book for a month and I have not given up, and I'm still reading, and I am building a meaningful relationship with this book. You know how beautiful of a story it is to say, you know, I read this and it took me a month to read this, and the journey there, let me tell you all about it. Versus, oh yeah, that book, I listened to the audiobook, but I don't fucking remember it. Right? And I've noticed, like I said, I'm a victim myself. I've noticed I built these habits naturally on my own as well as a booktuber. When I first started doing this back in 2021, the beginning of 2021, I was just reading. You know, I think like for my 2020 wrap up, I would have probably talked about like 5-6 books. And then 2021, because of this explosion, now that I became a booktuber, I started reading a lot more. And 2022 was the same. And now I find that I am slowing way down. And there was a sense of unease building on me. Why am I reading so slow? Why am I not tearing through these books? And I found, well, I'm reading really good books that I'm enjoying, and I want to relish them. And I would hate to transform that beautiful relationship with reading into another insecurity that I have to worry about. So read consistently at whatever pace you want. Really forge a relationship with words, because that's what reading is about. And if there's like all these snake oil salesmen people that I want to tell you, you're not reading fast enough. Quantity of books read does not equal intelligence. I've met plenty of people who've read hundreds of books who are complete fucking dumbasses. There. I hope that alleviates some worry in you. Thank you for listening to me ramble on and on. I really appreciate your time. I hope you're all well. Continue to stay safe and keep reading at your own fucking pace. For fuck's sake. Thank you.